So nobody said this was going to be perfect, right? But what I'm going to make is a shade tarp out of this 10 by 16 tarp that I picked up. And as you can see, it is pretty damn shiny. Time will do its thing to tone that down a touch. The upside, the real side is going to be the other side, the brown. But this camouflage net that I got, it's also a touch dark for this area. So I'm going to try to lighten that up a bit. I'm going to spread it out here and throw a little layer of paint on that while and I'm basically going to throw browns on this and khakis and stuff to try to lighten it up. I'm going to spread it out over here so that the bleed over will hit the green tarp, and then we'll really get to work on the brown on the other side. And then we'll try to attach these with the grommets here, as you can see. And I don't know, man. We'll see if this has any potential. This is not going to be, you know, your Delta Force operator grade by any means. It's going to be better than nothing. And I got a couple spreaders and a few poles. So when this gets employed, I can get it off of the ground and ensure that. I was thinking about throwing an eye bolt in the center, using some nuts and some washers to like hold it in place so I could suspend it from the top. And I just might do that. I got to play with some parts here and see what I can do. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm already getting long-winded here, so I guess I'll stop now and just start doing shit. Well, I rolled this thing out and I'm looking at it, and I'm actually not too unhappy with the way that it looks. I think I might spare the camo net from painting. I think I might just make it worse if I put anything on this. It does have some lights in it. All I saw was the darks, and I thought that this bag here, which the bag doesn't look so bad right now either, but when I was in the house yesterday and this thing showed up in the mail, I was like, ugh, man, this is dark. But you know, I think we're gonna be all right. I'll lighten up the brown on the other side. I'm gonna lighten this up on the inside, and this will cover it. And I think we just might be in business here. Yeah, so something I wanted to show you. Okay, so do you hear this? Crinkly. It's real thin. I mean, it almost feels like, it really almost feels like tissue paper. And it's got a net under it. And if you buy any of these, you want the net to be there. But I'm telling you, this net is almost notional, okay? Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing. Don't get me wrong. But it's barely passable, you know? But it's cheap. So we got that. But I have a real cami net, a piece here, okay? I mean, the threads are noticeably bigger, and they're beefier, you know? I mean, it's I don't know, it feels a lot more solid and strong and whatnot, right? And the other material, this almost feels like God, it almost feels like the skin of a lizard almost, you know? Like it's some pretty serious stuff. And this one's been abused. I have a collection of pieces of camo net that I would use, you know, back in the day, right? And I mean, it's got a lot more like form to it, you know what I mean? This kind of lays flat, and this might fix over time, and this might be all right. I don't know. If it dies, I'll let you know. I'll make an update video, but I'm giving the cheap, regular, like Amazon stuff a try here, and we'll see what happens, you know. But yeah, I kind of like the underside of that too, really. But who knows, man? As far as real camo net goes, no matter what the size, always take it. If you can get it, get it. This can cover a window. It can go on a helmet. It can, I mean, they can do all kinds of things. And if you can get them with the nets, it's even better, you know. There might be a little missing piece somewhere. You might have a little LPO piece set up and you're like, man, if I could just cover this one little spot, I could do this. Well, boom, you know, if you got a handful of these things, I keep a bag with them. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it's exactly what the doctor ordered. Got the fan on now, because I'm not trying to get stoned in here, right? This isn't done yet, but I think you can see that it's not heavy. Heavy is what you do not want to do, because if you put it on heavy to the point, like right there, that's almost too heavy. That was a rogue stream. You might ask why I'm using orange in this, but out here, there's a lot of oaks and there's a lot of pines and there's a lot of dead leaves and stuff, and they kind of turn orange when they die. So I'm gonna put a little bit of stuff on top of this, and that orange will shine through, and hopefully it won't look so loud. It does get loud when you put a straight blast of it in like that. Those are mistakes. I'll cover those up. But anyway, light. If this barely goes on, and it almost goes on like a powder by the time it hits, you know, it's not, this paint isn't fully atomized in a regular spray paint can. So you can give it a little bit of travel time and it'll still stick, you know, and it'll stay longer. If it dries and gets wet to the point where you have to let it dry, it'll be one piece. You fold this thing once or twice, that piece will come right off. It's not gonna bond right. So I'm just trying to get this stuff to stay a little longer. And my God, isn't this so shiny in here? I hope it's not like this in the real world when I get it outside, but we'll see, you know? This is an experiment, as always, for a lot of this stuff that I do on here. And people were getting on me, like, why haven't you made a video in a while? And to be honest, I'm always doing stuff like this, but I go, man, I don't know, it's too shiny. This is a dumb idea, it's not gonna work, blah, blah, blah. Then I do it and it works and I say, wow, that's pretty cool. I should have filmed that, and welcome to my world, right? Well, here you go. Pass or fail, this is gonna be it. All right, so painted the one side, I flipped it, and then I painted this side, which will be the top. And I mean, I'm remotely happy with the way it's going to turn out. I wasn't really too concerned with throwing a lot of green on it because, you know, we definitely got green going on top here. So the browns, and there is some green in there, as you can see, a little bit, but these browns and these sort of khaki-ish colors will, they'll bleed through when it's set up. And I might try to get something in the middle here, some kind of a suspension loop or something. I gotta see if I got pieces for that. It'd be kind of nice to do that next. I'm gonna let this dry and get back to it, but before I get too carried away on mounting this net on, I wanna try to find the center of this, and provided I have the proper hardware, hang like an eye bolt off of the middle or something. That'd be kind of nice. So the eye bolt idea didn't work out so good. So I'm drilling some holes in a big giant washer, and I'm gonna run some 550 cord through that I can loop, and that's just gonna have to work because I'm getting tired of fucking with this at this point. Sorry for the language, but we're dealing with science now. I counted the grommets. There's 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. I did this really crazy thing where I cut that in half, and then I followed the crack, and I made a hole right there. There we go. That's where I'm gonna run it. Is it in the middle? No, there's no way it's in the middle, but it's close. Whatever. What kind of an operation do you think this is, right? All right, now through the grommets, I am putting a zip tie on. Pretty simple, but I mean, is it gonna work? I don't know if this is strong enough to withstand the test of time, but we'll see what it looks like when I get them all on, because I got a long way to go here. So I'm not sure if it was me or China, but somewhere the math got screwed up here, because I got it zipped off over here, I got it zipped off going down here, and I got at least a foot hanging over on both sides. This is more than a foot, which is fine. I mean, it's all right, but I guess the measurements were merely guidelines, right? That's okay. We'll work with it. But so how this would work is if the sun was coming up that way, let's say, we could align this thing to where the slack was on these 2 sides, and this would be the shady side, you know? Or a high traffic area, you would put the more snug side towards the traffic and leave the other sides for the quote unquote back, you know? So, whatever. It's all good. It's good enough for what we're doing, which is trying to have something a little more easy to conceal than a shiny ass tarp. So, you know. Could I have done better? Yeah, I'm already seeing I could have done better. But for the money, I'm happy so far. So this brings us to a brief minute where we talk about poles and spreaders, and 550 cord for that matter. This is a jumbled mess. I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to unscrew this because it's the top of the spool broke off and it got all out of order when it unrolled. I'm going to edit that shit out, so don't worry. But poles and spreaders, you want to get a few of these if you plan on ever doing this, even just a shade tarp or whatever. If you can find these, they're pretty cheap, not super expensive, and these things they spread out like butterflies kind of, and they grab the tarp or net, and they can hold corners so you can elevate it so it doesn't have to be tied to something, right? And I'm gonna try to do this without using any stakes, so I might be kind of ghetto rigging this a little bit. I'm just gonna set it up just to show you guys the concept, you know. But anyway, on your list of things to do, poles and spreaders, because, you know, to be honest, I'm watching these videos of Russia and Ukraine and these drones dropping hand grenades on people, and it would sound kind of dumb, but these poles and spreaders might actually save somebody's life. I bet there's a couple Russians that aren't alive anymore that wish they had a couple of these. Get them now while they're cheap, before people start figuring this stuff out. Okay, so I'm not so crazy anymore on the base layer underneath this. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's close, right? So I want this tarp to match this ground as close as I can, which that's a pretty good vantage point. It's not the best, but it's doable. It is an acceptable degree, right? And this net, which really stands out down here, but that net is blending in with this stuff. This is the purpose of the net. So, yeah, anyway. So for the center line, I opted to go with some heavy Humvee canvas here. It's kind of like tarred bank line. It's not going to focus, that's great. But yeah, that's going to be my center. Now for the fun stuff. Well, this is the best I could do by myself. It's enough to give you the concept anyway. Like, why did I do this? Well, one, it does provide shade, but two, if you're in a semi-wooded area, this will keep your whereabouts from above way more private. And if you do it right, from people on foot, it can absolutely accomplish the same thing. Not so much in this setup. This is more for the overhead deal, but there are creative ways to do this, you know. It's pretty versatile. And this looks like shit. This whole side is caved in. I wasn't even gonna film that side. It's a two-man operation, and I was by myself, and yeah, it can get kind of not fun real fast, and it did. So it is what it is, you know. But anyway, you get the concept now, right? This will be an asset eventually. This will probably be used in one facet or another along the way. And I won't be disappointed that I got it. I won't have any buyer's remorse or anything like that. I mean, if nothing else, I want more of these, you know?